Kia ora team, Marcus Shaw here with Business Mastery. And I'm not sure about you, but I've started to hear people talking about this B word, the busy word. And it's something about this time of year, it exacerbates for a lot of us something that might be happening already in our business. So if you're someone who feels like you're making pretty good money, but you're always busy and it doesn't feel that easy, it feels just like this cycle of get the work, do the work, get the work, do the work. And that cycle just feels like it gets put on fast forward at this time of the year. In today's video, we're going to talk about a couple of frameworks that you can use to understand or to think about time differently so that you can generate higher profits for your business in a way that's easier, that feels more rhythmic, and in a way that makes you feel better about the trajectory of your business. So the first thing is that when we think about time, we tend to think of it in terms of a pretty linear fashion. What I'm going to show you is what we call the time target. And the time target, if you imagine a dartboard, and we have each day we have the chance to throw some darts at the dartboard. On the outer rungs, we have things that are not urgent and not important. So that's things like responding to Facebook messages from your friends. Maybe that's in the next rung. Scrolling YouTube and TikTok. It's not urgent and it's not important. On the next rung, we have things that are urgent and not important. That might be someone bumping into us at the office and going, "Hey, mate, have you got a minute?" Again, there's some urgency. It might be the ping of an email popping up in your inbox that you don't really need to respond to at that particular moment. Now, I'm guessing you're a pretty switched on business owner. You're probably not spending any time here, or maybe you are. Then really where we want to be hitting or sending the majority of our darts, if you will, and spending the majority of our time as business owners is in these inner two rungs. So things that are urgent and important, that's really responding to demand and the demand of doing the work. We need to do the work to get paid. And so it's important for us to do that. But the real key here is that we spend time in this middle zone doing things that are not urgent but are important. So when we're talking about that, this is things that don't need to be done today. They can be done tomorrow or put off. But because they're not urgent, we do exactly that. We tend to put them off. And now working on your business, tuning the engine of your business and making it more efficient is one of those things. So for example, refining your sales process, adjusting your pricing, improving your team culture. All of these things don't need to be done today, as opposed to getting quotes out, finishing work, responding to emails, etc. They have a sense of urgency around it. Now, what happens within your brain at this time of the year is, and I tend to see this with my clients, is these outer two rungs just go entirely. But what also happens is there becomes more and more pressure on these things that aren't urgent. And anything that isn't urgent shrinks, or it just goes entirely. It just becomes something that we just ignore. Now, maybe this is something that happens for you when things get real busy, or maybe this is something that happens for you all the time. And you just never, ever find the time to start working on projects that might improve the way your business is running. Now, I understand that pressure, and I want to show you a tool, again, that might help reframe this for you and show you why this stuff here really is important, and just how important it is in terms of the profit that it can generate for you as an owner. So if we think of the three hats that Michael Gerber talks about in the E-Myth, if you haven't read it, you need to read it. Business classic. should be fundamental for anyone that's running a business. Most of us start businesses with some sort of technical skill, and those technical skills are generally pretty easy to find in other people, and they're in this range here, give or take, 25, 35, $40 an hour. If we can find someone else to do that technical work, we should do that, because it's not worth a hell of a lot to the business. On the other hand, then we've got this next level up, which is managing resources, people making sure they are doing and performing at the level they need to be. And that might be worth slightly more, let's say 45 to 50. Then finally, we've got the owner hat. And when we put the owner hat on and we work in that area of the business, we're doing things that may not pay us off immediately. There may not be any immediate payoff for the projects that we're working on, but they're returning thousands of dollars an hour. So for example, yesterday I sat with one of my clients who's an engineer. We talked about some pricing changes in terms of his charge out rates. It's going to take him about an hour to implement, but the increase that he will get from and profit that he'll get from that worked out about 50 grand per year per person. So these tasks here are just worth considerably more to the business. Again, if we think about other areas of the business, like refining your sales process so you're not losing leads and you're increasing your conversion rate, if you're working out on ways to increase your average dollar sale, or improving your team culture, or investing in training a team member, all of these things, you may spend an hour doing them, but they pay you in tens of hours or tens of thousands of dollars over the long term. So when you think about this as a concept, I'm guessing you're with me. You're like, yeah, that makes sense. Why I should be doing this stuff here. I should be working as an owner in those high level, high value tasks. And just to reiterate or iterate that slightly differently, if you think about your job as an owner, it's that your return on time, your return on time over time should be going up. This is a really crude diagram, but over time, I want the amount of money I'm making per hour to be going up. So if that makes sense to you, then I would ask the question, when you think about your week or your weeks, when you think about an average week for you, what's that week actually filled up with? If it's just filled up with technician time, and you're only ever doing stuff that's worth $25, $35 an hour, well, your return on your time is going to be pretty low. Maybe you're doing a little better and you're going, oh, I've got some of these management blocks in here and they're worth slightly more to me as a business. But if you have no time in your week that is allocated to working on your business, on projects that are making you thousands of dollars an hour, well, you're not just limiting your business in the short term, but also in the long term. So at this point in the conversation, I want you to be really honest with yourself about what it is that you're filling your weeks up with. And if it's week after week after week of just technical time, and this is something that happens at Christmas time especially, a lot of owners will jump back on the tools. Well, at the end of all of that, yeah, I made some money and that was great. But I could have made way more money if that time was filled with high value tasks, $1,000 plus an hour tasks. So I appreciate this is a challenging thing for you to get your heads around. and to actually practically make a change. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that sits underneath this. But I want to challenge you with that, and also extend an offer. If this is something that you want help with and you've just been struggling for a long time to actually allocate that time and you've been unsure about what projects to prioritize, then send me a message. Happy to help and give you some advice there. Trust this has been helpful, and see you all soon.